kooky kids, and welcome to a special episode of the MK Productions podcast, where we were lucky enough and awesome enough to sit down with director James Nunn of his upcoming film One Shot. Kristen, you want to tell the folks at home what One Shot is and what they can expect from it?
This was a really exciting opportunity for us, but One Shot is the new film directed by James Nunn. It's the story of an elite squad of Navy SEALs on a covert mission to transport a prisoner off a CIA black site island prison that are trapped when insurgents attack while trying to rescue the same prisoner. Sounds like a lot.
Yes, it was.
But let's be honest, this film was actually pretty fun. I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this. Out of all the films Screen Media Films has released, I was definitely pleased with this one and actually very impressed.
Same. It gave me vibes of some of my favorite action movies, The Raid, Ip Man, and of course last year's Extraction was Chris Hemsworth, which a lot of the techniques from Extraction was used in this film, which I got into with the interview with James. Such a cool director, such a cool guy, and it was a very good watch and be had, and it'll be available on digital in some theaters on November 5th, right?
It will be available starting November 5th. So if you want to go out to your local cinema and see if it's playing there, go check it out. Or if you want to catch it on digital, totally give this movie a rental. We highly recommend it. And we're also just pleased enough that James was willing to give us his time to speak with him just for a short period of time. But unfortunately, I wasn't there. I really wanted to be there for this interview. But unfortunately, personal stuff got in the way. But I was lucky enough to construct this whole interview together. And I was happy Mac was able to take over and serve as interviewer for this project that we got to do with James. So, James, if you're listening, thank you again for coming on our very tiny show. Please come on again in the future, because I would love to speak with you as well, and even talk some more action movies with you.
Yeah, definitely. So
he's definitely someone to keep out for in the future, and in fact, maybe consider for Marvel movies.
Or DC.
Or DC. So, guys, please sit back, relax, and check out this little clip of One Shot and their interview. Hope you enjoy.
And Sir arrived 10 days ago.
We the only ones out here?
Just us and our guests.
A cell in Europe has been trying to build a dirty bomb. We traced it to D.C.
The detainees that come here do not depart until we've properly vetted.
Are you a mean man, Sawyer?
It's been a terrible mistake.
We screw up and one of these guys hurts the homeland, it's all over CNN.
Something's not right. On me.
Pulling back! Find him! Get him inside!
Spartan 01, this is Phoenix Actual. We are under attack. He tells us where that bomb is, we can radio it in.
I am not a terrorist, please.
If we stay here, we're gonna be overrun.
Come here, young one. This is not Benghazi.
Run low on ammo.
I know.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to thank you, James, for joining me today. For just a little quick questions and everything we got for you, and just appreciate you just coming by and just say hi to folks at home that are watching this now.
Of course, thanks for having me.
That's no problem. So obviously, I want to ask you the first question is, how did a film such as One Shot come into fruition? Because it seems like I've read some articles saying you took 6 years from treatment to the film. So I just want to ask, how did One Shot come to fruition?
Yeah, good question. So I am a very technical filmmaker. I love being on set and I love playing with the toys, and I love pushing the boundaries of what's possible with equipment and technology. And that's probably where my strength as a director is. And I was looking for a project that was really going to showcase me and my ability to try and hopefully, kind of push me over. I really want to get on the big films with the big money and the big actors and the toys and everything. And a good friend of mine, the lead actor in the movie, Scott Adkins, we'd already made 2 movies together. And for those of your audience who may or may not know, he's very, very good on-screen fighter. I think probably one of the best in the world. Amazing ability with martial arts. And you could just turn around. He'd have a fist here and you wouldn't have even seen it coming. He's so quick. He's got amazing ability, like gymnastic and athletic ability. So knowing that I had kind of had the relationship with Scott and my technical ability, I was really looking for a project that could showcase us both. And it was actually on the eve of wrapping my second movie with him, something I made called that I pitched to the producers, I know what I'll do. Why don't I just make a martial arts action movie in one shot? And they were like, yeah, that sounds really cool. Like, you should definitely write that. They went, you're impossible. We'll never get it made. It's impossible to get made, but like, you should definitely do that. So I was like, okay. So I went ahead and wrote it. And we struggled to get it made because I think for like a lot of investors as well, and people up the chain, once you get in this kind of money involved, people are scared of losing the ability to fix the movie if it's bad. So the fear would be that it's really slow, it needs to be cut up. Normally people like to shoot fights on 2 cameras, things like that, so that you can manipulate the edit and make a better movie if the first movie you hand in isn't very good. And I think that was one of the stumbling blocks that we kept hitting. And Birdman wasn't a thing at the time, and 1917 wasn't a thing. So there wasn't really like anything I could defer to other than like Hitchcock's Rope and just be like,
yeah,
look, they've done it before. And they're like, yeah, but that's like a play in like 4 people in a room. Like, you're talking about guns and explosions. And so it really kind of just struggled it just ended up sitting on a shelf. And then once 1917 came out and Birdman came out, and it really, there was like an appetite for this kind of movie. It actually helped because I could turn to investors and go, look at this movie. Like, we can do it. Yeah, we haven't got that budget, but we can do it. And then Scott was always in, and then we managed to get Ryan Phillipe and Ashley Greene, and kind of rest was history.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's a very unique type of film. It's just one shot, and you don't see a lot of movies these days just doing the one-shot action. That's actually another question I want to ask. So you've worked with Scott Adkins, one of the actors in your film before, on Green Street 3 and The Eliminators. What made this project one shot different from those other 2 films that you worked with him on?
Well, career-wise, I'm very serious about my career, and I'm a very serious filmmaker. And where I'm trying to go is to like a realism thriller kind of space. Movies like Collateral and Heat. Like, I wish I kind of had Michael Mann's career, and that's the kind of movie that I really want to make. And some of my other movies when I was in my 20s were much more sort of poppy and fun. And I think that I really wanted to make something serious and immersive and different. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do with One Shot. So really kind of, get more into like a serious space with the movies that I want to make moving forward the rest of my career.
And I want to ask too, what was the process of getting Ashley Greene and Ryan Phillipe into the project?
So I had wonderful producers on the movie, Ben Jakes and Mark Goldberg. And when you're putting a movie together, you need to quantify the budget that you have. You need to prove kind of sales, I guess. You need to prove that this movie is going to make some money. Mm-hmm. And to do that, the only thing you can kind of put against that is cast with names. So generally, when you're putting together a list, you'll try to find actors that will, be right for the part, and then also kind of hit the sales that the distributors require to give you the money to make the movie. And, you know, we put these short lists together of actors we like, and that'd be cool if they did it and stuff. And I think Ryan, Mark Goldberg went out to Ryan with the script and said, "Are you interested?" And he was like, "Yes, I am. I've never done anything like this. It's cool." And then that kind of got enough people interested to then go, okay, well, now let's try to touch someone else. And we went to Ashley, and Scott had worked with Ashley on Accident Man. And one of the things that really impressed me with her in that movie is she has a lot of expositional dialogue to deliver. Now, I knew with this movie, with One Shot, Scott is really handling a lot of the action. But I didn't want to give him the burden of all this like CIA speak to have to deliver, because you get the wrong person delivering that, it can sound really wooden, it's boring, you're like totally taken out of the movie, you're like, oh god, just get through this bit so we can get to some more like action or something. And one of the things that really impressed me with Ashley was her ability to kind of like deliver that stuff that sounds really technical, but like also make it interesting and be really engaging. And I think she does a really great job in the movie of doing that, really, because she's kind of like the brainy one, you know, and she really is telling us all the backstory and all this kind of heavy lifting, and she does it, and I buy it, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So no, we were very lucky to have Scott, Ashley, and Ryan, and they all worked very hard, and it's its own challenge making something in one shot, because they put complete trust in you and you have to put complete trust in them, because I can't fix it the next day. Like whatever it was when we shot it is kind of what it'll always be. So it was fun way to shoot though.
And that's another like can lead into another question I have, is that what were the challenges you and the stunt team faced while making this movie? Because a lot of the set pieces in these films, the stunt coordination, I can assume that was probably like one of the biggest challenges you had while making the film.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally was. And as I said, I'm a very technical director and I love a challenge. So I was hungry for it, hungry to do that. But yeah, I mean, it was like rehearsing all day. It was just like rehearsing all day for gunfights and things like that, because people in the distance have to be falling over when this person's shooting. Obviously, none of the guns are real. It's all CGI. So they're trying to coordinate, and you need them to drop at the right time. So I'd have them numbered, and I'd be like 1, 2, 3, like, and then the actors there were their like plastic toy guns essentially. So it was a total technical, challenge. But as I say, kind of relish that kind of challenge. And I think I was a bit worried that people might get a bit bored actually of just seeing this stuff happening. But once all the visual effects was in there and the music, it really creates this very unique, immersive experience that has sort of come up way better than I'd hoped. Like I had a feeling about how it might feel, but I feel like when I watch it, I'm like, wow, like this is really, really quite immersive, more so than like those POV style movies.
Yeah.
Are, a bit gimmicky perhaps.
So was there any piece of media that inspired you to make One Shot? Because when I watched it, I had feelings like Ip Man, The Raid, John Wick. Were there any piece of media that inspired you to make an action film like this?
Yeah, well, part of the problem was how do you I knew I wanted Scott to I know Scott can do these long take fights because I'd done one with him before. Mm-hmm. And you need to justify having 100 bad guys to beat up legitimately to make it feel real. Because the thing is, as soon as you got 100 bad guys being beaten up, you're automatically in a kind of comic booky world. So how do you do it? And I looked at movies like The Raid, John Wick, Assault on Precinct 13, things that kind of had this realism to them, but then equally, these mass violent action scenes, and trying to make it believable, I guess, because I think one of the problems with my actual initial treatment is it was very comic booky. It was much more like martial arts, less guns and stuff like that. And one of the notes we got from the sales agents and the distributors was like, can you go more into like a military space with this? Like, can you make it a bit more serious? And it was a great note, and I'm so pleased we did, because it's come out a lot more realistic than I thought it would.
That's I just really just thought I got vibes on like The Raid, and then Scott Adkins, he has been in other action movies, so I just wanted to like ask that. It just seems like he did take a lot of good inspirations from a lot of good like the high tier like action movies and everything. And then one of the other questions I have is that you have any advice for people who want to break into the film industry? Like, what would you tell anyone who would looking to get into the industry?
Oh man, you gotta follow your dream. If you want it, go for it. It's a tough industry, and it's tough. It can crush your family life and your personal time and things like that. But if you really want it, it's so worth it. Like it was my dream as a kid to be doing this, and I'm so pleased to be doing it. And in terms of steps, it's tricky. Like, watch a lot of movies, meet a lot of people, ask people for coffee. They may say no, but ask them. There's rejection involved, but then the reward is great if you manage to make something. So it's not a race. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. You really got to stick at it. But if you really want it, like, just go for it, man. Because you only get one go on the planet, right? So
one shot.
You only got one shot.
And last question I got for you. It's it's kind of a hyper question, kind of like two questions. So, what upcoming projects can you let us in on, and what is like your ultimate dream project you got that you want to do?
Ooh, I'm spinning quite a few plates with other projects at the minute. Nothing I really talk about, but nothing sort of super above the budget level I'm at. The dream is to really like jump up budget wise. I'd really love to be have more money to have better toys and bigger cast and things like that, and access to better scripts. The trickiest thing in the whole industry is finding good scripts, finding good material, because the top stuff really goes to the top people. And so I'd love to make a Marvel or a DC. I'd love to make a Jurassic Park was my favorite film. I'd love to do that. If someone wants to throw Jaws, the TV series, my way, I'd do that. So big property, really. I want to make something that the world will see and have fun doing it. And yeah, and hopefully, I don't know how the movie's going to get reviewed yet. So like, it's nice talking to you because you sound really nice about the movie, but I'm hoping that people see it and, can see my vision and see, and give me an opportunity to work on something bigger. But until it gets reviewed, I'm just like this, like, come on, man, let this be the one. So.
But I thought that's all the questions I got for. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. And my co-host, she couldn't be here, but she's here in spirit. And we just want to thank you all just for coming through and just talking to us for a few minutes. No problem. It's just happy, awesome.
Yeah. No, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
No problem, man. So good luck on your movie and your future endeavors and everything you have.
Appreciate that, Mac. Thanks, buddy.